This is a story about a retired teacher. She is very old, but her mind is still sharp. This is a true story that happened in Japan. Let's listen to the story and improve your listening skills. Retired teacher. Mrs. Okabe was an elementary school teacher. She taught for 6 years. Many of her former students became famous people. Some of them are now doctors, lawyers and company presidents, but she remembers all of their names. She is 6 years old, but she doesn't look or feel like she's that old. She lives alone in an apartment. Her husband died years ago. She likes walking by herself. Every morning she takes the train to the park near her home. She sits on a bench there and watches children playing. She always carries a notebook with her. Sometimes she writes down her memories. She also writes poems and stories. She likes sharing her memories with young people. She believes it's important to remember the past. We can learn from the mistakes of the past. Also, we can share our joy with other people. One day a young woman visited the park. The woman was looking for Mrs. Okabe. She wanted to interview her. She wanted to write a story about the retired teacher. The woman introduced herself. She said, "Hello, my name is Sato. I'm a writer. I would like to interview you." Mrs. Oki said, "Oh, hello, please sit down." The woman sat down on the bench next to Mrs. Oki. She said, "I have some questions for you." Mrs. Oki said, "Okay, ask me anything." "Why did you become a teacher?" Mrs. Oki smiled and said, "I wanted to work with children. I love children. They remind me of my younger brother. I had a younger brother. He was 2 years younger than me. He was a naughty boy, but he was very bright. He loved going to school. When he grew up, he wanted to become a teacher too, but he died in an accident when he was 19, so I became a teacher instead of him." How do you remember the faces and names of so many students? When I met them, I made an effort to remember their names. I never forgot their birthdays. I also remembered their favorite foods and hobbies. When you show a sincere interest in someone, you won't forget them. The young woman asked another question. "You must have many touching memories of your students. Could you tell me one of them?" Mrs. Oki thought for a moment. She said, "Yes, I can tell you about one student. His name was Hiroki. He was in my class 2 years ago. He was a very quiet boy. I remember he had an operation on his leg. He walked slowly when he came back to school. All the other kids laughed at him. I told them it's wrong to laugh at others. We should help him." One day I noticed Hiroki crying in the bathroom. I asked him why he was crying. He said, "All the other kids laugh at me. I want to go back home." I talked to him. I said, "Don't worry, you will get better, and when you do, you'll be able to play with the other children again." A few weeks later, Hiroki was able to play soccer with the other children. He was very happy. I was very happy, too. I was so proud of him. The woman listened carefully. She said, "That's a great story, thank you." After a while, she asked another question. "Is there anything you regret?" Mrs. Oakley thought for a moment. She said, "Yes, I regret not being kinder to my students. Sometimes I was strict with them. I wanted them to study harder. Now I think I could have been a little kinder. Of course, I couldn't give them everything. I was just one person. But I think I could have done more if I had been kinder to them. They would have felt more comfortable talking to me. Maybe they would have shared more of their problems with me." The young woman nodded. She said, "You must have had so many students over the years. How do you remember their names?" Mrs. Oakley said, "When I met them, I made an effort to remember their names. I never forgot their birthdays. I also remembered their favorite foods and hobbies. When you show a sincere interest in someone, you won't forget them." What advice would you give to young teachers? Love your students. Remember that each child is different. Show a sincere interest in them. Try to understand their problems. That's the most important thing. Also, don't forget to enjoy your life. Being a teacher is a very challenging job. You need to take care of yourself, too. After the interview, the woman thanked Mrs. Okabe. She stood up and said, "Thank you for your time today. This was a very interesting interview." Mrs. Okabe also stood up. She said, "It was nice talking to you. Write a good story." "Young lady," the woman smiled and said, "I will." Then she left the park. A few days later, the woman visited the park again. She wanted to return Mrs. Okabe's notebook. She found it near the bench where they had the interview. The woman was surprised to see Mrs. Okabe waiting for her. She asked, "Did you come to return my notebook?" "I was looking for you," the woman said. "Here it is. I'm glad I could meet you today." "I learned a lot from you," Mrs. Okabe replied. "It was nice talking to you, too. I hope you will use what I told you in your story," the woman said. "I will thank you." Then she left the park again. Mrs. Okabe watched her go. She thought, "I hope this young lady becomes a wonderful writer." As the sun began to set, Mrs. Okabe slowly walked home. She thought about her life. She thought about her students. She knew she had done the right thing. She had helped many young people in her life. She was proud of her work. Now let's answer some questions about the story. Question no 1. What did Mrs. Oki remember? Answer. Mrs. Oki remembered the names of her students. Question no R. Why did Mrs. Oki become a teacher? Answer. Mrs. Oki became a teacher because her younger brother died in an accident. He wanted to become a teacher when he grew up, so she became a teacher instead of him. Question no Sai. Who was Hiroki? Answer. Hiroki was a student in Mrs. Oki's class 20 years ago. Question no 4. What did Mrs. Oki regret? Answer. Mrs. Oki regretted not being kinder to her students. Question no 5. What advice did Mrs. Oki give to young teachers? Answer. Mrs. Oki said that young teachers should love their students and remember that each child is different. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button. Thanks for watching. See you next time.